All right, so are you ready to dive into Avengers Doomsday? We're going deep, deep, deep into all the rumors and intel we've got thanks to that awesome podcast you sent over.
Sounds like fun, yeah.
I mean, RDJ as Doctor Doom, possible multiverse stuff, Pedro Pascal joining the MCU. There's so much to unpack.
Oh, there's a ton to talk about. Doomsday is a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
It's part of Phase 6, which leads into Secret Wars, right?
Exactly.
Plus, the Russo brothers are directing.
Oh, yeah. Those guys know how to handle these huge films, and the action is always incredible.
Totally. But what's really cool is that they don't skimp on the emotional stuff either.
Oh, for sure. Remember that scene in Endgame? Everyone was grabbing tissues?
Totally. But, yeah, with Doctor Doom as the villain this time, the stakes are even higher, I'd say. I mean, he's not like your average bad guy.
Right. He's not just some space conqueror.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, for anyone who needs a quick Doom 101, he's got his own country, Latveria. He's a genius with magic and tech, and he's been battling the Fantastic Four forever.
Oh, yeah, he's a classic. Plus, he's got ambition and power on par with Thanos, maybe even more.
He's definitely got the potential to be even more dangerous than Thanos. And, you know, I think it's really interesting that Marvel decided to switch gears from Kang.
Oh, right. Everyone thought Kang was going to be the next big bad.
Yeah, and Kang's all about time travel and messing with the timeline, but Doom.
He's a whole different level of messed up.
Right. Exactly. He represents something way more primal, that desire for power, the clash between magic and technology.
He's like, I'm going to bend the world to my will.
Yeah, exactly. And that opens up so many more possibilities for stories.
Absolutely. Speaking of possibilities, let's talk about the cast, because this is where things get crazy. Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom.
Oh yeah, I know. That was a bit of a shock.
Right. But kind of perfect when you think about it.
You know, I was a little skeptical at first.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, RDJ is so iconic as Iron Man.
Yeah, he's the good guy, the hero.
Right. But then I remembered, that guy can act. He could totally play a villain.
Oh, yeah. Didn't he play a villain in U.S. Marshals? Plus, remember, even Tony Stark had a dark side.
He did. He had that arrogance and was willing to do whatever it took to win.
Right, so imagine all of that amplified as Doctor Doom. It's gonna be intense.
Absolutely. And it makes you wonder, will we see any hints of Tony Stark in his portrayal of Doom?
Oh, that's a good question. Like, will there be some kind of echo of Stark in there?
Right. Could this even be a redemption arc for RDJ's character? Going from hero to villain and back again.
Whoa, now we're getting deep. Okay, but let's not forget about the other awesome actors joining the cast. We've got Pedro Pascal.
Oh, I love him. He was amazing in The Mandalorian and The Last of Us.
He's on fire right now.
He really is. And you know what?
What?
I'm honestly more excited to see who he plays than anything else.
Oh, I'm with you on that one. He could be anyone, hero, villain.
Yeah, he could be a totally new character or someone we already know.
The possibilities are endless. And then there's Vanessa Kirby.
She was incredible in The Crown.
And don't forget, Mission Impossible.
Oh, right. She is so good at playing those strong, complicated women.
Yeah, and she can definitely bring the danger, too.
For sure. But what's really interesting is that we have no idea who they're playing.
Yeah, it's all speculation right now. Are they on Doom's side? Against the Avengers? Maybe they've got their own agenda entirely. It's all connected, you know? This is the MCU.
It always is.
Speaking of which, we can't forget about Florence Pugh coming back as Yelena Belova.
Oh, yeah, she's great.
Her story from Black Widow and Hawkeye. That's all going to tie into this, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And then there are those rumors about cameos from the Fantastic Four.
And the Thunderbolts.
Yes. I mean, come on.
Things are about to get really interesting.
Doctor Doom and the Fantastic Four? I mean, talk about history.
Oh, yeah, they go way back. Like, their story is almost Shakespearean, right?
Totally. And throwing the Thunderbolts into the mix, too.
It definitely suggests that Doomsday isn't going to be your typical heroes versus villains story.
No way.
You've got reformed villains. You've got these long-standing rivalries.
Yeah, it feels like we're going to see some alliances shift. Maybe even some betrayals.
Right. And, you know, I think those cameos aren't just there for the fans.
You think they're going to be important to the story?
Oh, absolutely. They're strategically placed to add more layers to the narrative. And think about the Russo brothers, what they did in Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah, they're good at juggling a lot of characters and storylines.
Exactly. They know how to build tension and keep the audience guessing. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of these cameos end up playing big roles in Doom's plans.
Oh, interesting. So they're not just cameos, they're like hints about what's to come.
Yeah, maybe even clues about how these past events are going to affect the future, especially leading up to Secret Wars.
Okay, that makes sense. And speaking of Secret Wars, I wanted to circle back to something you mentioned earlier about Dr. Doom being a different kind of threat than Kang.
Oh, right, yeah.
Kang is all about messing with the timeline, but Doom... his ambitions are way more complicated, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, the podcast even talked about Doom as like a savior figure, someone who believes he's doing the right thing, even if his methods are, let's say, a little extreme.
Right, like he's not just some evil tyrant who wants to rule the world.
Exactly. He genuinely believes he's the only one who can save him, which is, in a way, what makes him so dangerous. It's that conviction.
Yeah, he's not just a mindless villain.
Nope. He's got his own twisted sense of idealism, and that makes him so much more compelling than a villain like Thanos, who just wants to destroy half of everything.
I mean, you can almost understand where Doom is coming from, even if you totally disagree with what he's doing.
Yeah, exactly. And that moral ambiguity, that blurring of the lines between hero and villain, that's something the Russo brothers are really good at exploring.
Right.
Remember Civil War?
Oh, yeah, totally.
We were questioning everyone's choices, right? Tony Stark, Captain America.
They made us think about what it really means to be a hero.
Exactly. And I have a feeling they're going to do the same thing with Dr. Doom in Doomsday.
Oh, definitely. So it's not just about the big battles and the action.
Nope.
It's about exploring these deeper themes, these questions about power and responsibility. What makes someone a hero? What justifies crossing the line?
Right. It's the real deep dive.
You're right. It's about going beyond the surface and looking at the big picture.
Exactly. It's about the motivations, the consequences.
And with a villain like Dr. Doom, those consequences are going to be huge.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you've officially got me even more excited about this film. But there's one more thing we haven't really talked about, and it's kind of a big one.
What's that?
The multiverse. The podcast hinted that Doomsday is going to dive headfirst into all that multiversal madness.
Ooh, yeah, that's right.
I mean, the multiverse is a total game changer for the MCU. It opens up so many possibilities.
It does. We could see different versions of our favorite characters, alternate realities, even worlds that have been destroyed by these cosmic forces.
Right. And we've already seen hints of this in Loki.
Spider-Man, No Way Home.
Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Right.
And let's not forget that Doomsday is leading directly into Secret Wars, which is literally about the destruction and rebirth of the multiverse.
I know, it's insane. The stakes are so high.
I mean, it feels like we're watching this huge cosmic tapestry being woven thread by thread. And with Doomsday, all those threads are coming together.
It's pretty amazing to think about.
Okay, hold on. I need to catch my breath for a second. We've got Dr. Doom, a villain who thinks he's a savior, a cast full of amazing actors playing characters we know nothing about, the multiverse cracking open, and all of this is leading to Secret Wars.
Yeah, it's a lot.
My brain is about to explode.
But that's the beauty of the MCU, right?
Right.
And he
Yeah.
keeps us guessing, keeps pushing the boundaries of what superhero stories can be.
Exactly. It's not just watching a movie, it's like being a part of this massive, evolving universe.
Exactly.
Okay, so where does all of this leave us? What does it mean for all of you listening out there who are just as obsessed with Doomsday as we are?
Well, I think it means we're in for a wild ride. Doomsday is shaping up to be a major turning point in the MCU, and it's going to challenge everything we think we know about heroes, villains,
The multiverse.
everything. It's going to be a cinematic experience that will leave you breathless.
That's a great way to put it. You know, it's funny, we keep coming back to all these cameos. Yelena, the Fantastic Four, the Thunderbolts. It's almost like...
Like they're not just random appearances.
Exactly. It's like they're pieces of a bigger puzzle.
Right. And that's what's so cool about the MCU, how everything's connected. Characters and events from one film can have huge consequences in another.
Totally. It feels like Doomsday is bringing together all these storylines from the previous phases.
It is. It's like a culmination leading up to this face-off with Dr. Doom. And those cameos, they're like,
Hints, clues about what's to come.
yeah, and maybe even glimpses of how those past events are going to shape the future, especially with Secret Wars on the horizon.
Right, because we keep saying Doomsday is a bridge to Secret Wars, but how does a Doctor Doom movie, even with all this multiversal craziness, lead to the destruction and rebirth of reality?
That's the big question, isn't it? I mean, honestly, we don't have all the answers yet, but, well, if you look at Doom in the comics, he's done some pretty wild stuff.
Like what?
Manipulated reality, conquered entire worlds, even gone toe-to-toe with cosmic entities.
Wow, okay.
His ambition is limitless.
Yeah.
So it's not that crazy to think that what he does in Doomsday could set off a chain reaction.
Leading to the multiversal collapse and secret wars.
Exactly.
So maybe Doomsday isn't just about stopping Doom. It's about understanding him, right?
Yeah, figuring out what makes him tick.
Because if we don't understand the villain, how can we hope to stop what's coming?
Now you're getting it. This isn't just about the action and the special effects, it's about digging deeper.
Looking at the motivations, the consequences.
Exactly, and with a villain like Doom, those consequences could be massive.
Okay, I'm officially hooked. But before we go completely down the rabbit hole here,
Right.
I want to bring it back to you, the listener. You're the one who started this whole deep dive with that awesome podcast. What are your thoughts on all of this?
What stood out to you?
Are you as fascinated by Dr. Doom as we are?
Do you see the connections to the rest of the MCU?
Because that's what we do here, right? We take your curiosity and we dive deep.
We explore the hidden depths, the unanswered questions, all the stuff that makes these stories so captivating.
And with Avengers Doomsday, those possibilities are endless.
It could redefine the MCU as we know it.
And leave us with questions that linger long after the credits roll.
It's going to be epic.
So thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep those theories coming, keep the discussions going, and get ready for one heck of a ride when Avengers Doomsday hits theaters. This is just the beginning.